All right, Devastating Onslaught. This one beat the crap out of me, right? Yep. And we're back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rollsicle. We are here with another day. It's now Thursday that we are going through these Edge of Eternities color review, card review, set review type videos. My name's Nathaniel. I'm one of the hosts here at the channel. I am usually joined by my lovely co-host in Ashley. She's out in the living room being awesome, but she's not doing the set review here with us as she didn't want to be overwhelmed by the cards, understandably. Now, it probably looks like I'm recording these all at the same time, and I kind of am. I recorded all the previous ones all at the same time, and it is the same day, but this is pre-release day, aka we got to go do a pre-release, so I've now seen a lot more of these cards in action. I'll be able to talk about synergies with them a little bit more than I was in the other videos, but it's going to follow the same structure. Before we jump into things, if you haven't hit the like button, comment it down below, subscribe to the channel. Any of all of it's greatly appreciated. We're just a couple of nerds here, sharing all of our hobbies and our coupliness with you guys, so let's jump into what's happening. So, first things first, we got Bombard, common, 2 and a red, instant, deal 4 damage to target creature. Decent removal, gets a 4 in my book. Cut to the next one. Cut Propulsion, 2 and a red, instant, target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. If that creature has flying, it deals twice that much damage to itself instead. Now this one's pretty good because it can kill really anything that's big that has as much or more power than it has toughness. So in that sense, it's good that it's 3 mana, kill most things. But when you run into an issue where, God, I really need to remove that creature and it has less power than toughness and it's not flying, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. You know, obviously this one is instant speed 4 damage. This one is instant speed however much damage it has power. So, I think for me personally, I'd probably run a mix of the two, but I'll probably give this one closer to a 3 than I would a 4. But I think that's upside probably gets it. It deserves the 4. All right, Debris Field Crusher, 4 and a red. I haven't seen this one yet. When this enters, it deals 3 damage to any target, so sure. We get to Lightning Bolt on enter, and then Station 8+, it's a flying 1/5 that can get buffed up as the turn goes, sure. All right, Devastating Onslaught. This one beat the crap out of me, right? Yep, I got hit by this one. Didn't realize it was a mythic. That makes a lot more sense. I can English. XX and a red, create X tokens that are copies of target artifact or creature you control. Those tokens gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. So this one is straight up just make a bunch of copies. No surprise that this one is worth a good bit here, or at least expected to be. This absolutely pummeled me in pre-release. We're going to make a video talking about our pre-release deck, so stay tuned for that. You guys will get to see my lovely fiance who's out in the living room. Love you so much, baby. You can't see me, so I'm going to do it now. She made a deck, obviously, for pre-release as well. Neither of us did great. We didn't win anything, but we're at a new place. Most people I've ever seen at a pre-release was about like 11 or 12, and this one had 57 people, so put that in perspective. This card, absolute banger. You got to close out the game with it, because otherwise you're in the hole for however much mana you spent. But more often than not, 5 mana or 7 mana, you're making 2 or 3 copies of a creature. You better have something big or a really good enters effect, and you just win the game. Good stuff. I'd actually give it like a 9 out of 10. It absolutely pummeled. Drill too deep, 1 and a red, choose 1, put 5 charge counters on target spacecraft or planet you control, or destroy target artifact. Destroy target artifact is better than we think in this set because of how many things are artifact creatures, spaceships, etc. 5 charge counters on target spacecraft or planet doesn't actually get you there most of the time. It is at instant speed, though, so you can kind of play this as a combat trick in that aspect. So because of that, I'm going to give it like a 3 or 4. All right, Frontline War Rager, 2 and a red, Kavu Soldier, 2/3 at the beginning of your end step. If you control 2 or more tapped creatures, put a ++1 counter on this creature. It's solid. It's really good in the red-white kind of Boros go wide, go aggressive deck. So, you know, I got pretty pummeled when one dude that played this. I did manage to win I did manage to win 2 out of 3 of the games, so I won that match, but still a good, or I don't know, game, match, which one's which, I don't know. All right, still a decent card. Definitely lands in the, I'd say probably 4 category. 3 to 4. All right, full bore. If you guys don't realize, 3 to 4 is my. All right, it's fine. It's common. Full bore, 1 red, instant. Target creature you control gets +3/+2 until end of turn. If that creature was cast for its warp cost, it also gains trample and haste until end of turn. So you can tack on a red onto a warp and let that creature attack. That's really interesting. I did not see that card at all. Oh, sorry. I like that as a combat trick, so I will give that a 4 as well. All right, Galvanizing Saw Ship, 5 and a red, artifact spacecraft. It does nothing when it enters, but it does have haste when it... Oh, it's a 6/5 flying haste with 3. Okay, honestly, I'll give it that much. 3 for its station is pretty cheap, so that's not too bad. I think because of that, I probably say that breaks in... Well, it's a 6 mana, 6/5 flying haste. That's not... I think it probably lands at a 4. All right, Invasive Maneuvers, 1 and a red, instant, deals 3 damage to target creature, deals 5 damage instead if you control a spacecraft. Okay, so it's 2 mana, deal 3, or 2 mana, deal 5, but it has to be to a creature. I think that's fine, but it probably lands more in the 3 category. Kavaran Harrier, 1 red, robot soldier, 2/1. When it attacks, you may pay 2, create a 2/2. If you do, that's tapped and attacking. So it does have to attack, and you sack it at the end of combat. It's fine, but it's not great. It is nice that it can make some bodies, and it is good if you're playing like a Rakdos and you're wanting to have something you can sack at like instant speed, because it's going to die anyways. But it is when this creature attacks, so this is probably going to die when you do that trigger, so just keep that in mind. But, you know, we're asking a lot from a 1-drop. This is already pretty good stuff, so I think it lands in the 3 category probably for me. All right, Kavaran Skywarden, 4 and a red, Kavu Warrior, 4/5 with reach. It's got Void. Beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped this turn, put a plus... Oh, yeah, I guess this works for all the Void triggers too. Was warped this turn, put a ++1 counter on this creature, so it's a 4/5 with reach. It's going to get bigger for 5. I think that's probably pretty good. Lands in that 3, borderline 4 category. Kavaran Turbo Drone, 2 and a red robot scout. 2/3, you can tap it though. Target creature control gets +1/+1, gains haste until end of turn. Cool, so this is our haste enabler, if you will, for a creature card. I think it's fine. It does what we're used to, but hey, it gives it +1/+1, so that's nice. 3-ish, borderline 4. Cav Landseeker, 3 and a red, 4/3 menace. When it enters, create a lander token. Bro, let me tell you, I'm not going to spoil the pre-release video because I adored my pre-release deck, but I did a lot with lander tokens. At the beginning of the end step on your next turn, sacrifice that token. Okay, so you have to really get in there, use it. I don't love that, but the 4/3 menace on 4 mana is nice on top of the lander token, so 3, but maybe it's close to 4. All right. Litho Breaking, 2 and a red, instant, create a lander token. Then you may sacrifice an artifact. When you do, Litho Breaking deals 2 damage to each creature. Okay, so it's a little bit of a board wipe. It's not a big board wipe, but it's a little bit of one. All right, we're loading quickly now. All right, Melded Moxite, 1 and a red. When this artifact enters, I'm doing a lot of looking to the side, I'm sure, and I apologize for that. But when this artifact enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2. That's nice. 3, sack it, create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. What does it do? Jeez. It's late. It's post pre-release, so it's like 1 in the morning. Create a tapped. Okay, I don't love that. I think that probably gets like a 2 for me. I don't think that does a whole lot for you. All right, Memorial Team Leader, 3 and a red. During your turn, other creatures you control get +1/+0, and you can warp it. I think that's fine. It just buffs up the rest of them. If you're doing like red-white Boros aggro, all your creatures are getting that buff. You can go pretty aggressive pretty fast. Memorial Vault, 3 and a red artifact. Tap it, sack another artifact. Exile the top X card to your library, where X is 1 plus the mana value of the sacrificed artifact. You may play those cards this turn. That's pretty good. I realized I wasn't giving a rating, I don't think. This probably lands at a 4 for me. It's pretty good. This is interesting. You can get a bunch of cards that you can play this turn off of that, but it is only this turn. You've got to sack something with mana value. So I don't know if I love it. I think it's probably good for Constructed, which I'm sure is where it's headed. That doesn't seem right. But I think in Limited, this is probably pretty bad. I think I'm going to give it a 2. All right, molecular modifier, 2 and a red, Kavu Artificer, 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains first strike. Just every combat. Now it's only a 2/2, so it's but first strike is very powerful, so I think that breaks it into the 3 category. Nebula Dragon, 7 mana, 4/4 flyer, but when it enters, you get to Lightning Bolt. That's pretty good. I mean, Lightning Bolt is powerful for a reason. So, and this is on a 4/4 flying dragon body. It's not a cast trigger, so if you cheat it out for some reason, that's nice. But I don't think it's broken. 3. All right, Nova Hellkite, 3 and 2 red dragon, 4/5 flying haste. When it enters, it deals 1 damage to target creature an opponent controls, and you can warp it. I mean, sure. 1 damage to a target creature an opponent controls probably isn't killing a whole lot, but it might do what you need to get it done. It is nice that it has haste, so this comes out and swings. And you can warp it, which will do that 1 damage, but also notably... Excuse me, y'all. When you warp it, it has haste, so you can actually swing in with it when it's warped. So, Orbital Plunge. Oh, I'm going to give this... This is pretty solid. I think I'm going to give it like a 6. All right, Orbital Plunge, 3 and a red. This is another one of the... I used this a whole lot. I was very Lander token themed, as I had mentioned. I'm not going to really go into it too much more than that, but oh, it was fun. All right, Orbital Plunge deals 6 damage to target creature. If excess damage was dealt this way, create a Lander token. I loved this card. I think it's really good because the Lander token is pretty good upside here. So ultimately, the 6 damage was nice, and the Lander token was always appreciated in my deck. Now, that might be different for the decks that you guys are building, but I think for me, this managed to buy its way into a 4 as removal because of that Lander token. Or play Pangolin. Sure, I hope I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. All right, 1 and a red, 2/2. Whenever another artifact you control enters, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Very powerful, very good. I think this is great for a common. This thing definitely fights above its pay grade of 2/2 very quickly, especially if you're kind of going for artifact sub-theme. You're going to be triggering this a lot. You do have to pay the 1, but I do think it's typically worth it. So all things considered, I liked this card. I didn't get to play it a whole lot, but I liked it. So I think it probably lands around a 4. All right, Pain for All is really interesting. So 2 and a red, enchant aura, enchant creature you control. When it enters, enchanted creature deals damage equal to its power to any other target. Great. Whenever enchanted creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to each opponent. Very good. Very, very good. Because this you can throw on a blocker and just say, come swing at me. Swing at me with something massive and I will kill you. I think this is a very powerful enchantment because it's 3 mana removal. Basically, it's 3 mana punch, which we usually see around 2 mana. And then everything that you get on top of it for that extra 1, yeah, that's pretty good. Now, red isn't always going to have massive creatures unless you're doing like red-green. But all things considered, I think this is good. It probably lands around that like 5 to 6 area for me, so typically play it. All right, Plasma Bolt, 1 red. It deals 2 damage to any target. If you voided this turn, it deals 3 damage instead. Sure. I mean, Void was something I didn't run into a lot at pre-release, so I can't really speak to how easy it is to do that. I'm not exactly sure if that was happening a lot if you build into it or not, because I didn't play those against those decks, and I didn't really open a lot of those cards. But, I mean, sure, this is just shock that could be a Lightning Bolt. That's all it is. Possibility Technician, 2 and a red, Kavu Artificer. Whenever this creature or another Kavu you control enters, which there are a good number of, so you could get this multiple times. Exile the top card of your library. For as long as that remains exiled, you may play it if you control a Kavu. And you can warp this in to get kind of 2 triggers off of that. And it's a 3 mana 3/3, so no complaints from me there. I haven't really been rating these. I'm realizing that. So I will give this variable Shock Lightning Bolt a 4, and I will give this guy a, if you have enough Kavu, he's decent enough, I think, to break into the 5 category. All right, red Tiger Mechan, 3 and a red Robot Cat, 3/3 with haste. I didn't see this at all. 3/3 with haste and warp. So again, this warp is just to attack people. That is all it is good for. But hey, you might need it in certain decks. I think it's fine. It lands around a 3 for me. All right, Remnant Elemental, 1 and a red Elemental 0/4, reach with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. I think that's fine, but generally speaking, I don't like these big butt creatures that have no power at all, because I feel like, sure, you might get some landfall triggers, and now it's a 2/4 for 2, but that's only when you're playing lands. Now, if you play multiple lands for turn with landers and stuff like that, this thing can get pretty scary. And I do think this deck is, or this format, is one where the lands are pretty prominent, so you could end up getting that, but I don't love it, and I think for me it lands at a 3. All right, Rig for War, 2 mana, 1 in a red instant. Target creature gets +3/+0 and against first strike and reach until end of turn. I think that's fine, but I don't think it's broken. It's probably around 3-ish for combat tricks because it's pretty typical. That being said, +3/+0 on first strike is probably going to keep your creature alive and kill theirs, so that's not bad. All right, Roving Actuator. I gave it a rating. I was like, I didn't give it a rating. I did. All right, 3 in a red robot. 3/4 with Void. Whenever it enters, if you voided, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. That's pretty decent. I mean, you're not getting great value on the 4 mana 3/4 here, but you could get something good out of the instant or sorcery. So keep that in mind. I think it's got to go for a 3 for me. I don't love it. It might break into a 4 in the right deck, though. The blur on that card was making me think I'm way too tired than I am. All right, Ruinous Rampage, 1 and 2 red sorcery. It either deals 3 damage to each opponent, okay, just a punch to the face, or exile all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. That could have beaten the crap out of my Lander tokens. I actually, well, and I guess some artifact creatures and stuff because it's 3 or less, so it includes 3. Wow, this is actually not too bad. I think this could do some serious work, especially if you don't have a lot of artifacts on your build and other people do. That being said, 3 mana punch them for 3 is really bad. So it probably finds its way around a 3. All right, Rust Harvester. This is 1 red, 1/1, robot, menace. 2 tap, exile an artifact card from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, then it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Very good that this is a repeatable, sure you have to have an artifact card in your graveyard, but repeatable punch, and you might want to be able to buff this in other ways though, right? Because that's going to be 2 damage to something, then 3, that's pretty low. But all things considered, it's hard to argue with a 1 mana, 1/1 menace and punch stuff. For 1 mana, we're doing good stuff. I think this is probably around a 6. Maybe even borderline on a 7 for what a 1-drop's doing. Example, 1-drop, 1/2, 2 tap, sack another artifact, draw a card. I mean, that's pretty good. You can sack a land too to draw that card if you desperately need it, but not really good. I mean, this can turn your like Lander tokens into essentially a clue, but is it great? No, probably lands around a 3 or a 4 for me. All right, Systems Override. This is the gain control card that we always see. So this one is 2 in a red. Gain control of target artifact or creature until end of turn. Untap that permanent. It gains haste. If it's a spacecraft, put 10 charge counters on it. And they just do some spacecraft things. This one's really interesting. This actually I lost a match because of this card. He had like 3 things he was going to swing my way. I had 1 blocker. That's the ideal situation for a card like this. That is the perfect situation for a card like this. Generally speaking, you don't really want to run these, but in the right deck, you might want to. And he happened to pull that off perfectly. I mean, it went over very, very well for him. So generally speaking, I don't think these are great. It probably lands close to a 3 than a 4 for me, but let it be known, it can totally work. All right, Tanuk Steadfast Second. This is a Kavu pilot. 2 and 2 red mythic. Other creatures you control have haste, so there's our haste enabler. And artifact cards and red creature cards in your hand have warp. 2 and a red. That's pretty decent. Things that don't have warp now can get warp is pretty good. And honestly, 3/5 for 4 and other creatures you control have haste is a pretty good combination. I don't think this is crazy mythic levels. Obviously, artifact cards and red creature cards in your hand have warp. Is very, very powerful with certain constructed means. But within the set itself, I think, yeah, it's probably going to be worth a good bit, but I don't know if it's going to be anything crazy. It probably lands around like a 5 to 6 for me, which is very good. Again, play it, but I don't know if that's like groundbreaking, if you will. All right, we still have a few more. Terminal Velocity, 4 and 2 red. You may put an artifact or creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That permanent gains haste. When this permanent leaves the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its mana value to each creature, and at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this permanent. So it's like a creature-based board wipe, and then sack that creature. I mean, it's fine. I don't think this is great, but it is a board wipe, and that that has its impacts. This might break into the 5 category for me. Very interesting. All right, then we have Terra Pact Intimidator. I really like this card. 2 mana, 2/1. But when it enters, they either choose to make it a 2 mana 4/3, which is just a great ratio of power and toughness. I mean, 2 mana 4/3, let's go. Or they can choose to give you 2 Lander tokens, which Lander tokens are broken. So very good card. I actually think this plays above its pay grade. This might be the one uncommon so far that I'm saying, like, I mean, I might have said it about a few others, but this might even break in close to a 5 for me. I don't know. It's probably still a 4, but it's close. Territorial Brunter. I didn't see this. 4 and 2 red. No, I did see this, I think. Reach, landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card this turn. Notably, you do not get those other cards back, so you are exiling away your lands, which are what triggers this. That part's a little dangerous, right? That being said, it is a 6/6 reach creature for 6 with some upside that's going to let you play cards per turn, but just keep in mind, you could kind of mess yourself up here. I don't think it's unplayable. I actually still think it's in like that 3 to 4, even closer to the 4 range, because card draw, or at least simulated card draw, is still pretty good, but be careful with this one. All right, Vault Guard Trooper, 4 and a red, Kavu Soldier. So there's plenty of Kavus to trigger that Kavu thing that we were talking about. I forget the name of the card. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. So this is definitely one to be played in the sort of Boros go wide, tap your creatures deck, and it does pretty good. I think it's a solid 4. All right, Warmaker Gunship, 2 and a red. When it enters, it deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you control to target creature and opponent controls. That's good removal. So 3 mana, probably going to remove something, and a flying 4/3 in the long run if you can station it up. I think it's pretty good, especially in white-red where you might want to be tapping creatures without having to attack. This can be very useful to get those triggers, and I think this card would be very playable in that deck. For me, this land's probably closer to like the 6 range than like, oh my god, massive bomb, but hey, pretty good. All right, Weapons Manufacturing. This one was interesting. I saw this card, but it didn't do anything when I saw it. 1 and a red. Whenever a non-token artifact you control enters, you create a colorless artifact token named Munitions. When this token leaves the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. Notably, this doesn't give you a thing to do with the Munitions token. It doesn't give you a way to sack it. It doesn't give you a way to tap it. It doesn't give you a way to do anything. It just creates them. I don't think that's good. Now, you can build it into a deck that has a lot of ways to get rid of those. And in Constructed, oh boy, in Commander and stuff like that, this is going to be going crazy. But I don't think this is what we're wanting from Limited. I think I'm going to have to give it like a 1 or a 2. This just did nothing, in my opinion. All right, Weft Stalker Ardent, 2 and a red, Drix Artificer, 2/3. Whenever another creature or artifact you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to its opponent. This hurt me a bunch, so honestly, props to the dude that played this. I think this is a great card. 3 mana, 2/3 isn't really what you want, but if you're playing a good bit of artifacts, another creature or artifact, so sure, yeah, this is going to do plenty of damage to your opponent, ping them in for a good bit of damage, and it's honestly still an okay body for the cost. I think it's fine. Probably hitting closer to that 4. All right, last red card we have is Zookeeper Mechan, 1 in a red robot, 1/3 that taps to add a red, and you can pay 7. Target creature you control gets +4/+0 until end of turn, activate only as a sorcery. So you're probably not going to do that unless you just absolutely have nothing else to do in the late game. But I do think a 2 mana 1/3 that can tap to add red is decent enough in terms of some ramp in red, and it's still a decent body that can maybe slow you down if you're trying to get to bigger creatures. So it's in that 3 to 4 category, probably closer to 3 for me, but that ramp might make it a little closer to 4. And that's the red cards. Thank you guys for being awesome and watching through that whole thing. Let me know what your favorite red card is down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it, and Ashley would too, as she's now experienced a lot of these cards with pre-release. We'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them down there for us as well. Check us out on our other places. We've got Twitch, Discord. We'd love to see you in those areas. But if you want to stick out here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. You can see everything that we make. You guys can check out the Magic content. We've got other stuff too, though. Video games, TTRPGs, board games. We don't have a ton of all of those, but we are looking to expand. And like I said, we're just a couple of nerds sharing our hobbies with all you guys, and we'd love to keep doing that. So stick around, join the Rosicle family, and keep being super awesome. That being said, that is all we have for you guys in this one. We've now gone through almost all the colors. All that's left is green, which I'm super excited about because that's probably one of my favorite colors in Magic. But you guys will have to wait for that until tomorrow. And guess what? Tomorrow is official release. So happy Edge of Eternities, everyone. I hope you have a great Friday. That being said, if you're seeing this on Thursday, I hope you have an awesome Thursday as well. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, may those rolls be ever in your favor. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye, y'all.